Hey guys, this is Daniel and Dustin. Welcome to Flying Chariots The Rise. In today's episode, Nate Sullivan will tell us about the invisible highway. So, if you're curious now what this is all about, stay tuned. And guys, if you like today's episode, please leave us a like, a nice comment, or subscribe to the channel. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more podcast platforms. Before I start bugging you with stories from my weekend, let's start today's episode with you, Nate. Yeah, please tell us and the listeners who you are and what you do.
My name is Nate. I am in Dallas, Texas, but I grew up in North Dakota, here in the States. And my story with this topic kind of stretched over the course of my life. I kept an open mind all throughout when I was a kid, but my brother and I, we'd always like to go out on the patio, have talks about not being the only ones. How could we be? But then it was that open-mindedness, but it was also like, there's no evidence and this could all be just nothing, phony, I guess it remained that way up until college, and then college came around, and then something actually happened in my college town where there was a sighting and then like a crop circle, and then I was like, man, holy crap, this is real, bro. But I was freaking out. But then all of a sudden they caught whoever did it, and it was a hoax. And I'm just like, and I was pissed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I wanted it so bad to be real. But then after that happened, I'm basically like, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not gonna waste my time in this field anymore. Not that I had anything invested in it, really. I spent some time with my wife in Australia, and while we were there, it was there that so this is about 5 years ago. It was there, and then that my oldest brother started talking about Bob Lazar, because his story like came up on the surface again. It was possibly on Rogan, and that's how he found out. That led to things going on within the Navy, and basically I was just kind of intrigued. I kept my ears open, but I wasn't necessarily buying in to everything until I started to maybe dig a little deeper myself. But as Dustin in one of the previous episodes of your show caught on, I told him about what I call the invisible highway, and this is something that I was not looking for. This is just something that I happened to notice, and I'm not actually the first one to notice it. People actually encounter this all the time. However, I'm the first person in a while, I'm going to say, to notice that it's a thing, to notice that it's not just, oh my gosh, this amazing thing happened to me. I just saw something. Little do these people know that if they were to try this in a technique again and again and again, they'll have success. And as Dustin tried himself, as I encouraged him to, like he had some success. But when I first did it, I was kind of scared, and I was freaking out. But I'll tell you the story. So he mentioned I'm a golfer, and I had this is April of 2021, went on a golf trip with my family, came back. I sucked, so I wanted to kind of hone in on my swing a little bit, figure out what's going on. So I took my camera and I recorded myself a few times. That was that. But then previously, so I have these videos on my phone now, but I'm never looking at them too closely. But then I'm on Instagram a lot, and I follow golfers. I don't follow aliens. I have zero alien. I don't follow anything. But I follow golf, and I noticed that there is this image, and it's on my highlights on my Instagram for whoever wants to go look at it. It's a professional golfer, Rory McIlroy, and he's in his backswing, and in real time, the swing is like this, and it's over. But this was like slowed down to where like it was just like inching his way through the swing. But way off in the distance, you have an object come into focus that literally goes just like that, and it's gone. And in real time, if you were to play that without slow motion, it just like that, and you would probably never notice it. You never hear it. I shared that with my family, and I was like, what do you guys think of that? That's weird. And they're like, well, could it be a jet? And I'm like, well, of course it could be a jet, but what would a jet be doing on the, on a golf course, or let alone that seems pretty low and pretty dang fast, and I don't see any wings. It's a just kind of a dark blot, you know, in the sky. And they're like, you're right, it's weird. So that was that. And 3 months further, Instagram again. I'm watching these golf swingers and golfers and swinging, and I see another one, and it's even better. And I'm just like, I'm blown away. And at this point, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to share this with my family again. So I show it to my brother, and I'm like, what do you think, huh? You know? And he's like, he says something that really baffled me. He goes, there's two of them. And I'm like, two of them? I just showed you just the one. Where do you see another one? And he goes, look at this time frame at this point in the video. So I'm watching, and it actually takes me about 3 or 5 times to find it. That's how hard it is and how fast it is. But once you see it, it's going in and out of clouds, just like bloop, 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 and it's gone. And I'm just like, what? This leads me to my test where I discover this. And my brother says a joke, and we both have a really good laugh about it. He goes, wow, I guess these aliens really love golf. And yeah, we chuckle, we have a good time. But then that's when I'm like, I took some slow motion golf videos of myself like a couple weeks back. I'm gonna go check it out. And I go and I watch the videos, and sure as shit, you know, in the first one, like I have to wait on almost till the very end, but then right over top of me, you know, just like that. And I'm like, okay, that's when I start freaking out. I'm like, this is clearly not a golf thing. This is a slow motion thing. And from that point, I did a test that I'd never thought to do in my entire life. I took my iPhone outside. It was a partly cloudy day. Took a 30-second video of the sky, very still. Took it back in, analyzed it. And sure as shit, I have 5 of these guys flying 5. And they're doing stuff that I can't explain. And it's not bugs, because bugs have wings, and I've gotten plenty of those. I've gotten plenty of birds, and birds don't even keep up with bugs. They're slow. But these things are going in and out of clouds, and it's just like gone, you know, just like that. and it escalated from there. So there, I was at that point to where I'm like, I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. And I did it on the way to work. I got 3. I did it on the way at work. I got 1. I did it on the way from work. I got another one. And the way on the one from work on my way home, that was awesome, because I actually got a really good image. It was one of the images I sent you last night, and you can see like metal, you know, and I'm just like, it was at that point, my belief, not even belief, just I was into this subject just like that again. And my exact words were, I fucking got him. That's what I said. And I'm like, I got him. And then I called my brother, and I'm like, hey, I want you to do me a favor right now. I want you to hang up with me, and I want you to take a video, slow-mo, of the sky. And he goes, it's cloudy outside. I'm like, perfect. Just do it. Call me back in 10 minutes and let me know if you see anything. I get a call back in 5 minutes. Not 10 minutes. I get a call back in 5 minutes. And then I'm very eerie. I answer the phone, and I'm like, well, and all his words were, yeah. And I'm like, no way. And he's like, he goes, right above my house. And then he sends me an image of what he got, and it's just nuts. It's got a bubble on top of a saucer. I mean, I don't know what else it could be. Yeah, it's very condensed, but it's got a bubble on top of it. You know what I mean? And
that would be my question. Sorry, excuse me.
No, go for it.
That would be my question. Are they all shaped the same or all different?
No. I've gotten probably 10 plus different types.
10 plus different types. Sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on over in the sky.
But then so then I have also slow motion videos from years back, like on my phone. I've had my phone for years, and I go back to a really old video, and it's in there too.
What?
And I just
Whoa.
and you never notice it because you're not looking for it, and that's the
No.
trick. That's the trick. You in order to have this, you have to be cognizant mind, and you have to be looking for it. If you're not, the chances of you seeing it are slim to none. That's why everyone thinks that this is like a one-time shot. Oh my gosh, I saw something. It'll never happen again. No, do it again. You're going to get something. And then I did probability. So I did 200 some videos, and I came up with the probability that 60% of the time you're going to get something.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's significant. It's crazy. And the best part about it is, and in the previous episode, you said I'm in a small village. It's not going to happen for me. False. I've had people from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Finland, from Australia, Korea, even.
That's what I was telling him. I was very
Canada,
surprised.
Canada,
Yeah.
everywhere. That I have friends, and they have no idea what they're doing. I don't tell them because I don't want to sound like a weird dude. I just say, hey, I'm doing a project. I just want you to, if you are willing to take 30 seconds out of your day, just take a slow motion video of a partly cloudy sky for me, very still, and email it to me. That's all I'm asking for. They have no idea what it's for. And then I take their video and I analyze it, and it's there all over. There's even been books written about it, this phenomenon. Whitley Strieber, do you know Whitley Strieber?
Yeah.
You should look into him, Dustin. He's got he's an author to begin with, so he's a damn good writer. But he was the guy who came out with Communion. Have you heard of Communion?
Oh yes. I've seen the movie too.
Movie sucked, but the story's good.
It was pretty bizarre, actually.
But Whitley Strieber, he had a book. I forget the name, but he's got a whole chapter devoted to how to catch these things. And this is back in the 80s.
Wow.
Because it was when he was watching his tape where he saw in one frame there was nothing there, and then another frame, there it is. So then he caught on to how to do this, and he calls them rods. And then you even dig deeper, more people have caught onto this, and they call it Roswell rods. And it's a whole thing. And then Monster Quest on TV, they did a whole segment on it too. It's slow motion, and these things have been, and that was back in the 90s, Monster Quest episode from the 90s. But this phenomenon, for how long people have been catching it on camera, it's nothing new. But people just don't realize that it's all the time. You can, it's almost all the time.
It is. Yeah. The fact that I went and filmed right in my backyard and caught two things on two different occasions. Yeah. It blew me away. I was like, this dude was fucking right. He's not lying.
And the fact that we're not talking about space, we're talking about our skies.
Right. In our atmosphere.
Our atmosphere. That's crazy.
And so, like, you try to use your eyes to hone in on the sky, and you try to see these things, but it's impossible. And I'm not just saying that. I truly believe it to be impossible, because for one, even if it's a dim lit day, when you look at the sky, you're squinting. No matter what, you have to squint, and it does something to your eyes to where, like, it's not easy to see detail. But when you slow down and you change the frequency of what's going on, that's only the time where you can see these things. So people that have real life encounters where they're looking at a disc that's still, that's significant. That's rare. But me, people like myself included, have you ever seen a UFO? Maybe once in my life. Now it's different. Now it's, hey, how many did you see today? Oh, I got 20. I got 20. Like, in one video. One video, I got 20. And some of them are like the small dots, but some of them, man, are massive. Like, I'm not joking you. Like, big. Like triangles or big black ones, or like a pill-shaped white one, a
Cylinder.
pill-shaped gray one.
Mhm.
Then you have a perfect black sphere the size of the Trump Tower circle. You know what I'm talking about? Discs, you get tons of discs. You get sometimes ones that do similar to like a fly, but it's not a fly because I can just tell the difference. I've watched it enough. So I took this a step further, and I took it to I brought it to the attention of a few universities near me. One of the universities actually invited me to the college. They had done it a little bit themselves, and they're like, hey, what you sent us is something. We're very interested, and we're curious. We'd like to have you out for dinner, and we'd like to discuss this. And I'm like,
Oh,
awesome. Yeah. So I gathered up every bit of my material that I collected, and all my notes that I'd taken, and brought it to their attention and gave them, I guess I laid it out in the most plain of simple terms as I could. So then they were like, well, we want to try it with our phones, and we'll get back to you, and I'm like, sure, well, you can do it right now, and then I had him do it right on campus, and they got it the first try, and they're like, oh, so that's it. And I'm like, that's it. And they're like, so I'm like, what is that? So they're like, well, we're gonna run some tests. And so what they did was they set up a simulation where they knew how far away things were from them in their camera scope. So that tree is 3/4 of a mile, that building is a full mile, and we are right here. That's how much distance. And now we have an idea of the distance and the speed of how this thing is traveling. So they do it, and they come up with one video where they got a good read. It flew right over top of them, and then they're like, let's do the measurements. Okay, break it down, real lifetime, slow motion right here. And then they said that sucker's going 7,800 miles an hour.
Wow.
And they said, we didn't have any sound. There was no sound, and we couldn't see it in real life. But here, and the creepiest part about what they said is they said, it looks like it could actually house people. They said, we're not saying you have nothing. You clearly have something. This is their words, but we just don't know what to do with this. We're just not gonna, and we're very busy. These guys were like 80 years old, but so they stopped working on it. They did nothing with it. So it was kind of a downer, but they literally were able to pinpoint, and say to me, that's going 7,800 miles an hour, and it looks like it could house people. But we're not going to work on it because that's of no interest to us. So
That's a bummer. Do you have any deeper thoughts on why there is so much traffic in our skies?
I have over the course of time, and it's changed a lot. There's too many theories to kind of work around. But as I mentioned to both you and Dustin, I've been, me and a colleague of mine, we both consider ourselves ufologists, and we've been researching not just the UFO phenomenon, but abduction case files. So we if it doesn't have to do with something that was studied and taken seriously, we don't want really much to do with it. We kind of want as hard of facts and evidence as possible. So we try to pick good cases. Unfortunately, the waters are quite muddied in this field, and some people are plain and simple lying to you, but some people all of a sudden will say a detail that falls in line with something that is actual, and you're like, well, maybe there's more to this story, So it's very difficult, very muddied, as I said. But nukes, I think, like back in the day, like even in my home state of North Dakota, you can't go down any county road without seeing a sign that says silo site. We have the most
really?
Yeah, we have the most weaponry in North Dakota than any state in the US.
Oh shit.
That's a fact. So like you'll go down a county road, you'll get a sign, a green sign says missile silo site. You'll look out in the cornfield, and there will be a fenced in square with usually there's a building, a few antennas, and then there's like a few bubbles coming out of the ground, and those are missiles. But yeah, South Dakota, there was in the 80s a nuclear power plant where they were just doing standard stuff, and all of a sudden this orange basketball like shows, that's what it looked like. It looks like a basketball shows up over this place in South Dakota, not far from where I'm in. It goes over each dome where there's nuclear plants, and every time it goes over one, the plant shuts down and then moves to the next, moves to the next. And then, you get the guys seeing it firsthand. They're talking back and forth to each other. You guys seeing this thing? They watch it for hours, not minutes, hours. It's there. And then all of a sudden, the light just vanishes into nothing. And they don't see it escape or anything. It just vanishes into nothing. And then all of a sudden, everything lights up like a Christmas tree, like back up and running. The exact opposite happened in Russia. And this is very well documented too, where it went over their nukes. A big disc, actually, huge black disc. And all of a sudden, like, their stuff was down, not functioning. And these are nukes. So everything lit up like a Christmas tree. and all of a sudden, this is going to lead to the end of the world. Every nuke is set to go off. And the guys are freaking. Like, they're going, what the hell do I do? Like, this thing then travels off, and then all of a sudden, just, back down to normal. And they were wondering, so what do you think that was all about? And the theory that they had was, well, it's either saying, well, we know that this is your best weaponry and it means nothing to us. Like, it's like, we can obviously defeat you,
Yeah.
Or it's, hey, you guys are messing with some crazy stuff that's probably not the greatest for your planet. So stop it. Or other stuff. But lately, being there's so much traffic, and you were asking about the traffic, and due to these case files, it's at one point I was like, I wonder if it's practice. I wonder if, because I have heard that these things are, like, if we wanted to, we could take them down. We've shot, I believe, full-heartedly from case files that these crafts have been shot down in the past. So I think we do hold the capability to take them out if we wanted to, but their scale, they could definitely wipe us out if they want us to, but for some reason that's not in their interests. But
imagine
I think
being that guy sitting in front of your control panel at the nuclear plant, and everything lights up and everybody's screaming at you, Simpson!
No, no, man, you would freak.
Yeah,
scary. Shit my pants.
Scary.
Or
no, I found this very interesting. In fact, I had a, let's call it, sighting yesterday, and I tried to film it, but it wasn't possible because it was dark outside already with my cell phone, and we were driving in the car. I was part of a carpool, and I drove home from Cologne, where I did a short trip to, and reminds me a little bit of it. I actually saw those lights, but it was interesting. Maybe if you're interested, I can tell you about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So yesterday I was, when I was driving back home from my short trip with a carpool, we discovered something strange in the sky. We were these 5 people in the car. Then we saw those strange lights in the sky. They were very bright and seemed like they were above the clouds.
Yeah.
It was a little bit strange. I noticed them, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe spotlights or something like that. But if they were spotlights, we probably would have seen the beam of light going up as well, I guess.
Right.
And just to clarify, I'm not saying that I definitely have seen UFOs there. I explain here quite factually what I've seen, or what we have seen.
Yeah.
These lights were quite large, and it seemed like they were, let's call it, playing with each other. It was very strange.
Man, so strange you say that. I come across that a lot too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's what I think. I'm like, they're having a party. Yeah.
It looked like a game, like they were playing catch.
Yeah.
And catching, and yeah, I can't put it any other way right now. One was moving in a straight line from left to right, like very fast,
Mm.
and then it stopped. And when it stopped, another one came from the left and flew towards the first one. It flew a big arc at a really high speed and stopped right next to the other. Then a third one came along, and
Holy crap.
it's kind of hard to explain what kind of maneuver it performed, but it looked like it was flying towards the other two from below. Like I said, it's hard to explain because it appeared to be above the clouds, but somehow it seemed like it came from, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was
Wow.
very strange. The third one was very strange. And that's why I think it was not spotlight or searchlights. We drove on the German Autobahn on the highway, and there was nothing. There was
Wow.
no big factories or no events. We were out in the nowhere. And then they just stood there, not moving at all. The whole thing happened really quickly. It was very, very quick. Like,
Do you feel like did you ever have the sense that maybe it was you were supposed to be drawn to see that, like they wanted you to see that?
I was not thinking about that at that moment. I was told the other people, "Do you see that? Do you see that? And what do you think?" And they said, "Those are spotlights, and there's a party somewhere." And
Never know, I guess, sometimes.
nobody cared. Nobody cared. So we drove on and left the lights behind us. But after about, I told Dustin before, 20, maybe 25 kilometers, which in miles, maybe 17, 18 miles, I don't know. I noticed that the lights were still there. So I looked out the passenger window, and there they were. They kept flying their maneuvers. It was fascinating. They kept flying strange maneuvers and like they were trying to catch each other. And
Wow.
the whole time I was thinking about what it was. It was, yeah. Everyone who knows me knows I'm very skeptical. I always have to check everything very often before I form an opinion on what I see. And therefore, I say it again. I do not say that I've seen UFOs, but what I have seen was very strange. It was very strange. And
Right.
strangely enough, the fellow drivers did not find the whole thing very exciting and did not pay much attention to it. They really did not pay much attention. They were joking around, "Oh, aliens, aliens." And I said, "Don't you find that interesting?" And they said, we don't care too much. And
That's the thing that I think is the most frustrating about this topic, other than the fact that
Yeah.
we don't know for ourselves and we're the ones interested. The more frustrating thing is that
yeah,
all of a sudden
I agree.
you're sharing a moment with someone, or you're sharing something where you got some evidence, and then there's absolutely no interest. It's like, get out of my face, I don't care.
yeah,
And I'm like, but how could you not? Like, how could you not?
Right.
I always do the I call it the party test. Like, if you go to a party, chances are you're going to have this conversation with somebody, and the person's
Right.
going to be like, "Oh yeah, of course, dude. Like, of course, no, we're not the only ones, and this is all real." And then the next day, you're going to go to work, and you're going to have the same conversation with this person and say, "Hey, I liked that conversation we had last night. What are you talking about?" "Well, we talked about this." "Oh man, I was just fooling around. I don't believe in that crap." See how it changed? Like, you go from being no risk, you're at a party, you're relaxed, and no one's
Right.
listening. Then you go into work, and now you're like, you're keeping your guard up a little bit, and nobody, you don't feel comfortable talking about it anymore because you don't want to be seen as that guy.
yeah.
So maybe you're interested, but you can't let on that you're interested. I don't know.
It's weird. You're right.
This is
I
weird.
wonder if religion plays a role in that.
I think so.
To me, not. I mean, but for others, absolutely.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Doesn't
That's
fit in
what's
there. Yeah. I have a neighbor. He lives right beside me, and I talk to him about what I do, and he knows what I'm doing. We are friends also for many years now. And I say, don't you look into the night sky sometimes in the summer when there's no clouds and when you can see all the stars and the moon, and isn't it beautiful? And he said, I never look into the sky. Not at night, not at daytime. I do never look at the sky. And I don't believe in in aliens or UFOs, and I don't believe that there is somebody else out there. And I say, why? I mean, it's possible that there is nobody else besides
But to
us.
just be so have such conviction and just say no,
Yeah,
like that's lazy.
yeah, he's very convinced that there's nothing. He's very convinced. He said, no, there's we're the only ones. And I said, sure, that's possible. Why not? Everybody's is saying that's a standard answer if you talk with people, and they always say, oh, it would be stupid to believe that we're the only ones. And I say, yeah, well, but maybe we are the only ones. It's possible. Maybe it all makes sense that we're the only ones. I don't know.
I don't remember if it was Jacques Vallée or someone else, but they had a quote where it was like, well, it doesn't matter, man. If we are the only ones or if we aren't the only ones, both outcomes are equally terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
But I don't understand people like him that say, I don't care about the sky and I don't care about the night sky. Everybody's looking into the night sky and
yeah,
just watching and be
open.
You're fascinated and start dreaming. To not
For me, it just makes me feel insignificant. I feel like I'm one of the world and we are all doing the same thing. Yeah. And we're all hoping the same thing and we're all thinking the same thing. So I don't feel special. I feel no closer to this subject than anybody because I feel everyone is doing this, you know? So even after everything that I've shown my wife, she still is a non-believer. Like,
really?
Hard no. Hard
really?
No. Yes.
Man.
How come?
Oh man, I wish I knew. But I can't necessarily
so much evidence there, though.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the best video that I had was the one where I'm like, this is a discovery. Like, this is huge, and this is the smoking gun, you know. And that's go on the Instagram account and check it out. But it's a cloud cloaking video, and it's got 6 in my entire video, and the video wasn't taken by me. It was taken by a friend, and I was with him right up outside my workplace. But you got 6 of these things flying around, but then the 6th one, the last one, does something I've never seen before. And I'm just like, you have no idea what you just caught. Like, this is different. And he goes, what? And I'm like, watch. This thing literally comes down, bounces like it hit like a ping pong ball on a table, you know, like that. But that's not the special part. When it bounces, comes back up, it goes from being in clouds to being in crystal clear blue sky. And so now when it goes into crystal clear blue, I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to see? When it enters the blue, it is completely surrounded, and it is a cloud. And the cloud drifts up until it hits another group of clouds, and then there it is again. And so you play it back again, and it's not, and then there it is, and it's a cloud. It's not, and then there it is, and it's in crystal clear blue sky. And best part about it, the video's in slow motion. So you play it in real time, you're going to see this big cloud go just like that. So in reality, this is the exact movement it does. It comes down, and then it goes all the way up, and then once it's at the top, it goes like that. That's the motion. But in real time, this is what it looks like. And it's over, done, just like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and but that video was the part that convinced me that it's because birds don't become clouds, bugs don't become clouds. Clouds are vapor. You can't move a cloud. Not even a plane that goes through a cloud can touch it. It's air, you know. And and clouds don't go against every other cloud like that by itself. And especially when you got this thing which clearly has density and darkness and is in the clouds and then comes out as a cloud. That you just can't explain. Some people will say, oh, it's a cotton ball. And I'm like, do you realize how far my phone is zoomed in? And you wouldn't be able to see a cotton ball. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
you'd have to be fully zoomed out and see the bigger picture to see a cotton ball. Now, when you're fully zoomed in, can you see a cotton ball? And it's not going to be so. It's not going to be so perfect, you know.
And how would a cotton ball move that fast?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't. And so even though the video that the two astrophysicists that I dealt with said this is proof, 7,800 miles an hour. I shared that video with the family member. You know what they said?
What?
It's a bird.
Of course.
And I'm just like, I wanted to call him stupid because I'm like, I will. In which case, let's say it is a bird. I'm famous either way. I'm famous either way because I found out the world's fastest bird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's translucent.
And it looks like it can house people.
And that's crazy. If there were people inside or beings or whatever,
so it could be alien drones too.
Yeah. Imagine the technology. Imagine this technology. The forces would kill a human. Like they.
So I have a guy right now who's actually doing. If you guys have guys like this too, ask him to do this. But he's got friends in the film industry, and the film cameras are different than any other camera. So like when you take a camera that you make a movie with and you put it on the big screen, it's going to stretch those pixels and it's going to make it look like a normal shot. But if you play that video on the monitor in front of you, a lot smaller, you're going to be able to zoom in forever and have all those thousands and thousands of pixels, and it'll still, the further zoom in you go, it'll still be crystal clear. That's the difference, And so like he goes, with this, if I happen to catch one, I'll be able to pause it, zoom in all the way, see the windshield and whatever's behind the windshield. That's what he said. So I'm like, cool. Dude, if you get me that footage, oh my gosh, I will freak.
That'd be the holy grail.